This is part two of the prophecy updates as of January the 3rd, 2025 on this Saturday noon. Because I did a part one last night around 12 o'clock at night. And then this is a update a couple of hours later on this January 3rd, 2025, part two of the prophecy updates as Maduro and his wife was taken to custody. I believe he's gonna get indicted over there in New York. After early this morning, explosions heard over there in Venezuela. And it says Lavrov holds phone call with Venezuela's vice president. It says Lavrov holds phone call with Venezuela vice president. U.S. forces seize the South American nation's leader. Right, his wife as well too. And then Maduro, he's gonna get indicted over there in New York. It says early on Saturday, Russian Foreign Minister Shigaliv Hevlov has held a phone call with Venezuela Executive Vice President Delechi Rodriguez and expressed solidarity with the people of South America and the nation in the face of the U.S. aggression. The conversation took place on Saturday, shortly after the U.S. President announced the following large-scale strikes on Venezuela. American Special Forces has captured and taken nation's leader, Nicolas Maduro, out of the country. Lavrov expressed forum solidarity with the Venezuelan people in the face of armed aggression. The foreign minister has said in a statement, adding that Moscow will continue to support Venezuela's policies of defending the country's sovereignty and nation's interests. Both Lavrov and Rodriguez expressed their support for preventing further escalations and finding a way out of the situation through dialogue. The ministry said both sides also voiced comment on further the Russian-Venezuela Strategic Partnership Agreement. Under the Venezuela Constitution, Rodriguez is next to line of succession if the president is no longer capable of fulfilling his duties. However, Trump has stressed that the U.S. will be involved in deciding who rules the oil-rich South American country. We can we can't take we can't take a chance of letting somebody else run, just take over where Maduro left. He told Fox News in a phone interview on Saturday. So we're making that decision now. It says Washington, right? So they gonna so they are discussing making that decision. So who's gonna run next to be the president? Washington has maintained that Venezuela president is illegitimate and has offered a 50 million bounty for information leading to his arrest. The U.S. Department of Justice has now indicted Maduro and his wife and his son for allegedly illegalizing sieging Venezuela and its institute of transporting thousands of cocaine in the United States. Moscow has urged Washington to release capture. Moscow has urged Washington to release the captured president and his wife. We emphasize that the need to create conditions for resolve any existing issues between the U.S. and Venezuela. Dialogue for Minister in a statement. And it says January 3rd, 2020. Yep, January 3rd, 2026. From Archie.com World News and Reads. It says we will run the country, Trump, after the Venezuela regime change. Supporters of Nicolas Maduro and late Hugo Chavez hold posters with the images after explosions of a low-flying aircraft heard on January 3rd, 2026 in Caracas, Venezuela. It says the U.S. will run Venezuela after carrying out a regime change operation in an oil-rich South American country, President Trump has said. Trump was speaking at a press conference after U.S. force swooped over a Venezuela capital, Caracas, early on Saturday. It says Maduro and his wife were captured by the special U.S. forces, and the operation and reconditioned on the American warship, while the Venezuelan leader is being held blindfolded and handcuffed. We are going to run the country until such time as we can do in a safe, proper, and judicially transition. It says Trump told the media from his Mar-a-Lago resort, we're there now, and we're going to stay until such time and a proper transition can take place. It says we're going to have our very large U.S. oil companies, to the biggest anywhere in the world, going in spending billions of dollars fix the badly broken infrastructure and the oil infrastructure and start making money for the country. And we're able to stage a second, much larger attack if need to do so. So we're prepared to do a second wave, Trump added. It says Venezuela's Interior Minister Delasio Cabello Ronald has told the country troops to trust the leadership, while Foreign Minister Yan Gao has accused Washington of seeking to gain control of Latin America's nations' natural resources. Numerous of videos have emerged a series of heavy explosions, and the carcass footage shows the attacks of two parts of the countries has also been geolocated. And one clip features an outline of several U.S. Chinooks military helicopters swooping across the city and the low altitude. In a statement, Moscow has condemned the U.S. aggression, calling it immediate clarification of Maduro's whereabouts and limit that ideological hostility has trumped over business like pragmatism. American Senator Mike Lee announced on his personal X account that the Secretary of State Marco Rubio has told them that Washington does not foresee any further military operation at this time, and that the Venezuelan president will stand trial in the United States. It says multiple Western countries have expressed concern and claimed that they are monitoring developments with their diplomatic teams in the Venezuelan capital. It says 1758 GMT time. Venezuela holds about 17% of the global oil reserve, or 303 million barrels, ahead of OPEC leader Saudi Arabia, according to the London-based Energy Institute. While Latin American country has the world's largest reserve, its crude output remains at a fraction of capacity due to the mismanagement, lack of investment, and sanctions, according to the officials' data. It's the book of Luke 21. This is the book of Luke 21 in verse 25. It says, "There shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars upon the earth. Disgressive nations will perplexity rich born." Right, so that's we're seeing the disgressive nations will perplexity rich born, and we're seeing the signs in the sun and the moon and the stars as well too that Yahushua showing us. And this is Matthew 24 and verse 6. "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars," right? Especially with that incident happened earlier this morning, around about 2 or 3 o'clock this morning, around Saturday, of those heavy explosions, and then special military operations of the United States captured President Maduro's wife and him as well too, as he's going to stand trial in New York. Matthew 24 verse 6, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars," right? As we see in these modern day nuclear wars, tensions are heating up between these nations around the world. "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars," right? That's going to continue to increase. "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars." See, there should be no trouble for all these things must first come to pass, and it's not yet, right? So it's going to come to pass, but not going to end just yet. Because you're still going to see nuclear wars, so it's going to continue to increase. Matthew 24 and verse 7, "For nation shall rise against nation," which goes to ethnos. It says, "In kingdom against kingdom, there should be famines and pestilence, and earthquakes in diverse places." Right, so we're going to see the famines and pestilence, plagues and earthquakes in diverse places right on top of it. Matthew 24 verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows, right? So these are just the beginning stages of sorrows, because you're still going to see wars, rumors of wars, seditions, uprisings, uproars, people wars. So that's something that will continue to increase. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 3, verse 1. It says, "To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose of heaven." Right, so we're living in modern day times and season, every purpose of heaven, modern day biblical signs and signs of times. Ecclesiasticus 3 and verse 7, in a time to reign, in a time to sow, in a time to keep silent, in a time to speak. Verse 8, in a time to love, in a time of HATE, in a time of war, time of peace. Right, so we're living in a time of war. Wars and rumors of wars are only going to continue to increase. In the time of HATE, lawlessness and iniquity is only going to continue to increase. And that's what we're seeing. This is the book of 2nd Esdras. It's the book of 2nd Esdras. 2nd Esdras, chapter 9 and verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars, people roar. Right, so we're going to be seeing more and more increase in uproars, people roar, and increase in earthquakes. 2nd Esdras 15 verse 15. It says, for the sword of discretion draweth nigh, and one people should stand up and fight against another with swords in hands. Right, so one people should continue to stand and fight against another with swords in hands as we get closer and closer to that great insurrection uprising. And that's why we're seeing those heavy protests that's been taking place over there in Iran and different parts of uproars of people in the world. So that's only going to continue to increase. Because these prophecies is not going to go on void, just like the words of the Heavenly Father doesn't go on void. These prophecies are not going to go on void. This is 2nd Esdras 15 verse 16. For there should be sedition among man. Right, we're going to continue to see sedition among man throughout the whole planet Earth. For there should be sedition among man, avoiding one another. They should not regard their kings nor their princes in the course of action and power. Right, because we're still going to have tensions heating up over there in Sudan, South Sudan, tensions over there at Myanmar, and these tensions over there in Western Asia, tensions over there in Iran. So that's something going to continue to increase as we get closer and closer to more of this great insurrection uprising. Like it says in 2nd Esdras 16, chapter 3, verse 7. And this is Matthew's. This is the Gospel of Matthew's 20. Yep, Matthew's 12, verse 25. And Yahushua knew their thoughts or hearts or mind. And he said unto them, every kingdom divided itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided itself shall not stand. Right, so we're going to see more and more modern day ruler against modern day ruler, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. And Yahushua knew their thoughts, or their hearts, their mind. He said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided itself shall not stand. Right, so that's going to continue to increase. Verse 26. Matthew's 12, verse 26 reads, and if Satan cast out Satan and be divided itself, how should his kingdom stand? Right, so if Satan be divided itself, how should his kingdom stand? St. Mark chapter 3 and verse 24, precept to that. And if a kingdom be divided itself, the kingdom not stand. Right, so if a kingdom be divided itself, the kingdom not stand, because you're going to have a kingdom within itself being divided, and then outside of another kingdom being divided, say another kingdom. That's what we're seeing in modern day times that Yahushua spoke about. This is the Gospel of Luke 12 and verse 51. It says, suppose ye that I come to give peace on earth, I tell you neighbor where division. Right, so we're going to see more division between the nations. And that's what Yahushua mentioned. Suppose ye that I come to give sin peace on earth, I tell you neighbor where division. Right, so you're going to see more division between the nations. Modern day ruler against modern day ruler, nation against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And this is Jeremiah chapter 28. Yep, this is the prophet Jeremiah chapter 28, verse 8. It says, the prophets that have been before thee and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and great kingdoms of war, evil, and the pestilence. Right, so these war, evil, and the pestilence are going to continue to increase. Just like it says in Matthew's the 24th chapter, these is the beginning of sorrows. So more war, evil, and the pestilence are going to continue to increase as the days progresses on. This is Jeremiah chapter 28, verse 9. It says that the prophet was prophesied of peace when the word of the prophet should come to pass. Then should the prophet be known that Yahweh should be sent. Right, prophecies came to pass, be fulfilled. That's going to happen once again in these times. And this is the prophet Joel. This is the prophet Joel, chapter 3, verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty man. Let all the men of war draw near to come up. Right, so you got these tensions escalating once again over there in Yemen. You got this Saudi Arabia and their coalition forces ramping up tensions once again against the Houthi rebels as they did that recent airstrike the day before yesterday over there in Yemen. So expect to see a lot of more tensions heating up over there in the area. over there in the Mediterranean Sea, over there in Yemen. The Gaza Strip, the West Bank, the Palestinian territory throughout Western Asia. You're still going to see escalation heating up over there in the area. Expect to see more proxy groups clashing against one another. Nuclear tensions uprises throughout that whole region. You're still going to have Iran versus Israel. That's only going to heat up once again of a potential nuclear strike that the Israel Defense Force is going to use against Iran. And then Iran said they're going to be fully ready this time. While they got their proxy groups and the pro-Iranian groups, they all going to team up together. They're going to be going against the Israel Defense Force over there in Western Asia. All this going to lead up to the Third World War. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, right? The armies of other nations prepare war. Wake up the mighty man. Let all the men of war draw near and come up. So with that, this was just a part two. This was just a part two of the sit-down lesson of the prophecy updates. Matter of fact, before I close it out, this is another news article. Not just that's the spirit too. I just mentioned this because throughout the years recently, we've been seeing the Israel Defense Force been doing multi-front wars and tensions between the proxy groups and the pro-Iranian groups. It says January 3rd, 2026, and reads, the Israelis military order to prepare for war on all fronts amid Iranian protests. A new long-term plan reportedly envisioned a dramatic expansion of all IDF military activities, including weapons and uttermost space. The Israeli Defense Force has been ordered to prepare for a possible simultaneous war against Iran, Lebanon, and the West Bank. According to the Israeli Channel 12, one scenario reportedly includes an explosion operation against Tehran, which is currently facing a widespread Israeli-backed cost of living protest. The preparation as a part of a 4-year term plan by the IDF Chief of Staff, Elia Zamar, if I pronounced the name right. The broadcaster revealed on Wednesday on the top of war readiness. It says that they are reportedly including plans to develop capabilities to attack both satellites and around targets from space. And that's the spirit too, because I believe I think that was Russia or Iran did a launch strike of a satellite. It says officials in the West Jerusalem expect Iran to attack Israel to prevent this solution of the Iranian government under the pressure of the protests. Channel 12 said, Channel 12 said Israel has held off an official commenting on the mass unrest shaking Iran concerning about a potential military response. Channel 12 claimed, however, Israeli Mossad spy agents has openly backed protests on social media and claims that it has agents in the demonstrations. The demonstrations began late December, prompting a hyperinflation and the enduring economic crisis in the sanctions Islamic Republic. The unrest were worse in recent years, repeatedly spread in multiple cities and repeatedly led to deadly clashes with the Iranian authorities, with some protesters demanding the reinstatement of the monarchy of outlaws by the Islamic Revolution in 1979. It says U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to military intervention, and we are locked and loaded and ready to go if Iran kills peaceful protesters. And he said, Truth Social on Friday, just days before the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visit for Trump threatens to back new airstrikes on Iran if it ramps up its ballistic missile program. Most likely that's going to happen. Last June, Trump ordered the military to join the coordination military strikes with Israel against Iran nuclear sites. During an open conflict between Tehran and West Jerusalem, he claimed that the attacks prompted the development on a nuclear weapons by the Islamic Republic. Allegations of Iran denying condemning the attack is unprovoked. So expect to see the United States armies and the Israel Defense Force armies prepare for a potential another airstrike against Iran once again, because the most likely scenario that Iran is going to build up their nuclear capability once again, and then Iran is going to be fully prepared with their allies as well too. And all this is going to lead up to the Third World War. Yeah, the prophet Joel, chapter 3, verse 9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty man, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. You have to let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. As it says, Israelis ordered to prepare for war on all fronts, and many Iranian protests. This is Revelations 11, verse 14, then I'm closing out. Yep, Revelation 11, verse 14, the second will pass, behold, the third will come in quickly. Rise to the second will pass, behold, the third will come in. Armageddon, Armageddon. So with that, hopefully this was edifying. That's the wrong one. So with that, hopefully this was edifying of the part 2 of the prophecy updates, because I was continuing what I left off at. Because at first, I thought I finished the first part. Now after with the Venezuela situation, now it was an update to it. So I just went on ahead and did a part 2 of the prophecy updates, part 1 and part 2. The sit down lesson of the prophecy updates as of January the 3rd, 2026, on this Saturday at noon. So hopefully this was edifying. And with that, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh B'Hashem, Yahweh Shai B'Hashem HaKadosh. And the Heavenly Father, true name is Yahweh, and His unbegotten Son, B'Hashem. In the name of Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. Those are their true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Lashon Kodash, the Holy Tongue. And I say Barak Thumb to the elders and apostles, Ma'akim, Ma'akwaf. Until next time, I would say Shalom.